Hello everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have MTV MultiVac on our radar today. So we literally had a request about 10 minutes or so ago on one of the comments of our video that we uploaded tonight. I'd like you guys to know that we always read the comments. So here's a video based on someone's question and what is going on with MultiVac. So some of you may not know what's happened in the last week or so. We're going to put that to bed, but also have a look at some reactions from MultiVac in their internal team, especially Sean, the new CEO, which is obviously part of the topic that we're discussing right now. So let's take a quick look. Of course, do check out their social media aspects as you go along, because they do always update this very regularly. But here we go. A couple of things before we go into that AMA. So 5% bonus reward is coming for those when we get to the 5 billion staked MTV mark. So clearly people have not taken them out of staking. They're still ongoing and they're very close to hitting that 5 billion, albeit I think it has been stuck around that 4.8 billion for some time. So let's see how that continues. But the AMA, of course, was announced and it took place literally a day or so ago on the 6th. Unfortunately, we couldn't cover it at that time because of constraints with work and everything. But here we are doing it right now. So a few top points for those that don't know. The previous CEO, Frank, had removed himself from the position of CEO at MultiVac. Obviously a big surprise to a lot of people, but I want to re-emphasize this. In a company level, organization level, people were kind of like, oh, hang on, this is quick. Oh my God, what's happening? But this would have been pre-planned for some time. There's no doubt about it. When you're at a CEO level especially, but in general, any high seniority level, I know firsthand, you would normally be speaking about this maybe 6 months or 3 months before your tenure is supposed to end because you've ended your notice. Now, if there's a major health implication, of course, and you're told like a week before or a month before, then obviously it's going to be done a bit quicker. But generally speaking, when you're the CEO, you obviously have the big responsibility of a big project behind you. And I'm sure that this has been not done lightheartedly. There's a lot of concern out there because of being in China and everything, and have this been forced by the government because a lot of companies out there, of course, are owned by the state. I'm not sure if that's true with MultiVac themselves, but very, very crazy. And in general, you know, we got to thank Frank for the momentum of MultiVac since its beginning. Now, I'm quite new to MultiVac, maybe 4 or 5 months ago now, maybe 6 months. And a lot out there, of course, been holding this token for more time than I have. But I still respect and understand the position that he's been in, how he has done for MultiVac. But this is now a great opportunity because Sean, who's been identified as obviously a very important person in MultiVac already, but he comes with huge communication power, PR power, something that people have saying that MultiVac has been lacking. So if MultiVac has been doing the great performances it has been, albeit not so much the last few weeks, of course, if they can take his leadership in that aspect, I think MultiVac's got a huge future ahead. We know MultiVac is a phenomenal project, certainly in a few years' time. For me personally, I'm not majorly fussed about what happens this year or whatever. But when you're looking at DAG projects and things like this in terms of scalability and this, that, and the other, the next level of blockchain technology stands out massively for me. So the AMA very much talking to the people, of course, about, you know, the aspect of what's been going on in 2021, how successful it's been. But he was really emphasizing about, you know, trusting them. MTV is 100% solid, this, that, and the other. So really good, powerful marketing communication there already. Just emphasizing that, yep, things have happened. Things have been strange. Ignore the price of the chart, okay? You know, the price is reflective on people's investments. We're talking about the project here and how big it is, how incredible it is. But here mentioning about, to be honest, actually, he kind of paved over quite a bit about a lot of the things that have been going on. But one of the big questions here about the roadmap, he says we should have this within January and February. So really excited. I can imagine a lot of people out there really, really wanting to know what's going on, guys, with MultiVac. So they're working on that. He's clearly, taking things by the reins straight away. That's confidence from me, in my opinion. And we will look into the chart shortly as well, of course. Just conscious my battery's running out of my laptop. Need to find that somewhere. Will you be the new CEO of MTV? Will the CTO role be replaced? Will you hire a CMO? Plans to build the organisation similar to DAO, so voting systems. Just as Vitalik is not the CEO of ETH, MultiVac does not need a CEO, blah, blah, blah. He will continue to serve as CTO, and he will be seeking a CMO candidate. Well, I can assure you there's going to be many CVs thrown at this project, that's for sure. But interesting here, candidates in the community, some people who are willing to work part-time to help us in marketing. If there are suitable candidates in our community, please contact CC or me. Well, there you go, guys. If you want to get into this kind of space like I am, it's obviously a great opportunity for people out there that are very passionate about MultiVac and community and marketing drive. There you go. He's thrown it out there. What is your plan to grow the ecosystem? Pretty much stuff I'm sure will come out in the roadmap as well. Are you going to update both our team page and GitHub? Well, these things are always going to happen. Can you imagine these people just asking these questions? It's like, these people have jobs to do. Like, they work all day, every day, probably have like 2-3 hours of sleep. I know I do in this space, but it's crazy. But these things will definitely be on there. So of course, more information here about the NFT. So really the first sort of 2-3 topics were about the transition and aspect, people being calmed down a bit, and then the rest of it's pretty much straight into what's carrying on. And it's clear to see in this AMA. Go check it out yourselves. But for me personally, I think it's a fantastic response. It's relatively quick considering the situation. Could it have been announced a bit better or transitioned a bit better? Absolutely. But it's happened. The project is still there. It's still massive and mega and beautiful future. But we can look at this chart now. Smash the like button if you like what you hear and see. Sorry, I just got disturbed by the cat who's doing weird things on the floor. So guys, look at this absolute downturn for MTV, and that's understandable because I think the announcement obviously building up, some rumors kicked in, and of course 31st, and then we've had a bit of a crash down. Now it's understandable. Some people lost confidence. Some people are like, wow, what's going on? I have no idea. I'm scared. Pulling out. For me, never going to sell this until I see significant prices way up to where we are right now, way beyond the previous all-time highs and everything like that. Can we still get to 20 cents in this bull run? Hopefully the bull run that comes this year, absolutely, I think so. But first we've got to ride this storm, and it's understandable, it's expected. So we've got these variables to consider what's going on with MTV right now, okay? So it's not just because it was in a bear momentum already, but the fact that we've got these crazy announcements, crazy timing right into the beginning of the new year. But it could have probably been the best time possible because 9 times out of 10 businesses get the peak periods of December out of the way, then they focus sometimes they focus a bit in end of Q4 for next year, but there's so much going on and then people's families and stuff kick in and holidays, etc., that you come into January like, right, cool, I'm refreshed, what's coming up? That's why they've announced the AMA possibilities maybe towards the end of this month and into next month, and that's pretty much any company around the world, whether it be in crypto or the real world, that is just normal. And I've been there many a time where you sort of pre-plan stuff in November, December for next year. I mean, I usually worked 6-8 months ahead. I was doing Christmas stuff in like summer. That's why I got bored at Christmas, because I've already done it in my head. But like in these principles, it is very much something that's quite normal, to be honest. So looking back here in the history, it's kind of defying the laws, if you like, of support and resistance levels to an extent because of the variable really of such a big magnitude news of a CEO leaving and one being transitioned in and a whole team structure change as well. But the AMA looks really positive. It looks really good in the sense they come out, they've addressed the situation, addressed the issues, and they've confirmed to people like, we are on this, guys. We're on this and ready to bring it up. So forget the price for a second. The project itself, the company itself is pushing itself forward as you'd expect. From the price perspective, of course, we've got to understand from an investor's ideology is that they are identifying things that happen in the market. You've got a load of people that are like maybe in the comments saying what's going on. They don't look at the research side or they don't think about that stuff, and that's fine. Some people just want to know price points. Some people do the research and understand what's going on, and that's why they've sold. Some people just sell because they see the red. So you need to really understand and think about what you're doing before you just jump to a conclusion and make a decision. This is not financial advice, in my opinion. I'm definitely learnings from the past, because I've seen some of these kind of things happen before, and I'm certainly not making that mistake again. I'm holding strong, believe in the project. That's the main thing. Do I believe in it? And am I investing in things that I can afford to lose money on? Yes. That's the principle that I work with right now. So we're coming back to these kind of touch areas here. We've dropped down to these significant levels past what we saw in June, which were highs around about 0.007. We've dropped below 0.007 today with a current low, albeit we've retraced it back, but a current low, it nearly went under 0.006. I was kind of expecting that, to be honest, because of the momentum of this. I think that it's been dragged. It's a real shame. But for me, selfishly, as you know, I got into MTV later than probably most of you out there. I am absolutely loving these prices. And I was jealous of the people that had millions of them. And now I have the opportunity to really start emphasizing some points of MTV at these low levels for the future. Like I said, I'm sure there's great opportunities in this year, but for the next few years coming, bang, I'm ready. I want to get MTV as much as I can in these opportunities. So here we go. I'm going to quickly rush through a bit of this because I'm now 11%. So here we go. We're touching down on these lower areas. It's very much almost like a price discovery mode downwards. It's crazy. But hopefully we can get some stability here. We've seen a really good move today in the sense that the candle is quite thin. So we're hopefully seeing some projection of stability. The AMA's come out, people are seeing that now in marketing and media, touching up on that. There's a few other things I want to point out in the indicators here. So we've got this switch over on the MACD showing the bear movement, the encouragement really of the wave finishing on the over purchasing and going into more of a selling mode right now. What I like about this is not massively steep. Hopefully we can keep that a narrow gap, meaning that there's more opportunity to squeeze it and then pull it back up in the positive direction again. And I think that will hopefully happen sooner rather than later, because we're now touching up the RSI points where we were at the beginning of December, had a real nice tail up, rumors came in, 31st came in, and bang, back down here. So we're touching back on support levels, as we just pointed out a minute ago, in those regions. So I'm just getting a warning of 10% now, I think. The battery's pretty good on this laptop, to be fair, despite everything that's going on. I'm just going to pull this up because it might reduce the battery a bit. It's too many things flashing. So performance indicator, understandably, 31% down on the week, 33% down on the month, 62% down on 3 months. I'm not too mad about that because you do anticipate usually between 60 and 70% reductions over a 3-month period. That's why I'm kind of excited about MTV right now, because I think hopefully we're going to bottom out after all this bad news. Touching back on these support mechanisms here, we need to test these areas because we've only had a big touch up here, big price discovery here, and we've got this kind of like gap, almost you could say, between this mark here of like 1.8 cents and these lower regions of 0.003. Not much activity around here. So we've been trying to test here 0.009 or just under 1 cent, failed it as of the last few days because of the announcement. So that is where we are. Next levels down, in my opinion, where we are currently right now, are probably going to be looking at things roughly around these areas of 0.005, possibly. Could happen. It could happen 0.003, but we're not going that far just yet. So I'm buying MTV as it's been coming down, but I have definitely got some bags of USDT available at these lower regions as well, just in case, but specifically around 0.005 as we're pretty much partially approaching that, to be honest. We did earlier just touch, as I said, 0.006, the lower end, pulling ourselves back up. So it could mean that we get some stability around this area. In fact, I'm just going to pull down back to this point here and see if we can get some positivity out of this as well. So I'm just going to pull that up to the most recent high point here as well. So I'm just pulling out some interesting data here from these lower regions to here, just to see a reflective point. So actually you see we're trying to flow around this sort of area that we're currently sat at. So hopefully we can get some support here and pull that back up sooner rather than later. Other areas to consider in the RSIs from a purchasing perspective, very low on the 14-day, beautiful buy position in my opinion, not financial advice. 28 days showing 36. Always look at 40 marks definitely as areas of purchasing. But to see it floating under 40, absolutely I will be doing DCA, dollar cost averaging price points downwards. The 90 days is the most significant one for me at this point in time, because as I said, in the 3 months we're down 62%. That usually indicates that we're seeing, arguably, hopefully, the bottoming of that. We might see a bit of a U-shape going on in the coming weeks, but we've gone from like the 50 areas, we're now floating around 45. Where I see it coming down to maybe 42, 40, it's going to be, horrible, not horrible, but it's going to be disappointing to see that happen. But if it does, that's where I think it will come just under that sort of 0.005 mark. But for me right now, I'm sort of thinking I'm limiting the damage of it coming down further. Yes, it could still come down further. We might come test, as I said, nearer the 6 cent mark again, and maybe down to that 0.0055, sorry. But at this moment in time, I would like to see a drag up here. But we just got to anticipate. We've got to anticipate. But at the end of the day, I want to accumulate MTV, and these prices are allowing me to do so. Opportunities come left, right, and center. Some people are sad about it because maybe they bought it ages ago and we saw the development of the heights, perhaps didn't take advantage of those, and we're coming back down. But you've got to put your mind at ease sometimes. No one knows definitively what happens in this space. Some projects just fade off the face of the earth because of things like this. But I think MTV has a humongous project behind it. Clearly a lot of investment behind it as well, especially in the staking, that's proven. So I don't think it's really going anywhere. And it is the next level really of blockchain, along with DAG in my opinion. So we've got to stand by the principle of that. But like I said, if you use money that you can afford to lose, and that sounds horrible, silly to say, but it's realistic. For me, it's like that money is gone in my mind, personally. You might be different out there, but personally, I'm like, it's done. I believe in this project. That's why I'm sticking with it. If it fails, it fails. If it goes successfully, absolutely brilliant. Is it risky right now? For sure, there is an element of risk in the sense that of what's been going on in the news. But I think when this roadmap releases, everyone will start feeling really confident. So we might see that U-shape really depend on that AMA announcement and timing. So let's see how that plays out. Let us know what you're doing with your MTV in the last few days or week. Have you been selling it off? Have you been fed up with it? Are you angry with the way it was dealt with? Or are you buying up like I am? Let me know in the comments below. But guys, I'm going to wrap that up there because I've got loads of videos come in, but I just thought I'd bring this to attention because people were asking for it in some comments on videos we launched earlier today. So thanks very much for watching. Keep an eye, like I said, on MTV socials. Do check us out on socials as well. We've smashed through 1,000 Twitter followers already, which is brilliant. Keep subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Tell your friends, tell your family, and hopefully we'll be on 6,000 before you know it. But guys, thank you for watching. We will see you indeed in the next MTV video, hopefully in the next few days, and we'll see how we have moved around in that chart. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.